Hello everybody, my name is Brian Nichols. Welcome to another MMA event preview, and I should say events for this one. If you're unsure, we have a stacked weekend of MMA events going on this weekend, plus a big boxing card. And today's video, I'll be going over a lot of the events going on, plus I'll just touch on the boxing card as well. And yeah, I'm excited. Like, it's going to be a ton of fights this weekend. It's going to be honestly so hard to keep track of everything. That's why I think in this video, I'm going to kind of keep it short on a lot of the events. I'm going to just touch on, I'm not going to touch on every single fight and every single promotion's card, but I am going to touch on a few fights basically on each event coming up. So without further ado, feeling a lot better. Still got a little bit of a cold, not much, but basically I'm good to go. And I'm wearing my, if you can see it, wearing my PFL shirt, ready for them to start their season back up. I don't know. I like PFL. I like that. I like the bracket tournament format, and I don't know. I like what they're doing there. So I kind of wish they came more in the Midwest, but a lot of their events are just on the East Coast and in like New York City. So whatever. But yeah, let's get on to the events, shall we? Let's transition over to my other screen here. So if you don't know about this site, Tapology.com, you should if you're a big MMA fan. But there's a nice little page here under the fight. If you go to the Fight Center, here you can look and see what upcoming cards are coming up. You can actually do the drop down, do boxing or MMA or all grappling. And you can choose just UFC, major organizations. Usually I look at major organizations to see what's coming up. And here's what we have coming up just this weekend. We have ACA 104, which is that absolute... I'll have it up here. Actually, I have her Absolute Championship ACMAT. We also have Bellator 239, which is in Oklahoma. So I'm based in Kansas City. I looked to see how far Thackerville, Oklahoma was. I want to say it was like a 4-hour drive. I wish it was a little closer because I want to go to a Bellator card one of these times. But yeah, I'm not gonna make that drive. So we have that Friday as well. And then Friday night is also LFA 82, and that's going to be on Fight Pass. We also have Rizin, which is Friday night into Saturday night, so overnight. So that's Rizin 21. And then Bellator has another card this weekend. They're doubling up. They got one Friday and Saturday. The one on Saturday is in Dublin, and that's actually on DAZN. Well, 239 is on DAZN as well. And then the last event here, UFC on ESPN Plus 26, which is headlined by Paul Felder and Dan Hooker. So that's our stacked cards. Oh, plus the boxing, which is Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 2, which should be crazy as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So again, first event, ACA 104. So again, this is the Absolute Championship ACMAT. Honestly, I'm not all that familiar with a lot of their fighters. I mean, they have fighters that have really good records, at least on this card, so it might be a good card, but I'm not really familiar with this promotion. And then, again, if you're a hardcore MMA fan, you may know this, you may not, but I had to look it up just to verify. But there was another promotion called ACB, which was Absolute Championship Burkut. Come to find out, that is now this promotion, ACA. So ACB is now turned into ACA. Now, ACB, which, again, is now ACA, I don't really want to support this promotion all that much because I'll link the article in my YouTube video in the description, but there's a article about how this promotion would turn over decisions made by judges and refs. Like, they wouldn't like that. Oh, they're like, oh, this fighter had TKO. Nah, let's change that over to like a no contest. It's like, that's super shady, and I don't want to promote that and talk about their fighters stuff. Like, they should not be doing crap like that. And I looked at their website to figure out how, because back in the day when it was ACB, they would have their fights on YouTube, so I would actually watch them. It'd be like midday on a Saturday, almost like morning/afternoon, and I would just put that on like on one of my other screens here, and it was okay to watch for free on YouTube. But now they charge you on their website, and I looked, and I think it was like $8 USD, but the website was all Russian, and it just, I don't want to say it looks shady, but of course I don't speak Russian, so I'm not going to tune in. I'm probably not going to know much of any of the results to these fights unless there's some crazy knockout or something and I catch the highlights. So nothing crazy here to talk about ACA, but that is going on this weekend if you do like that promotion. Next, we have Bellator 239, which is headlined by Ed Ruth, and he's going up against it's Yaroslav Amosov, and Ed Ruth. He's a beast. I like to use this website, Fight Matrix, if you guys aren't familiar with this, and I looked up Ed Ruth, and his 540 metric is .667, which is interestingly enough the same as Kamaru Usman. Now, if you're not familiar with Fight Matrix or this 540 metric, I could explain it real quick. Fight Matrix is really cool for looking at rankings. You can kind of look at rankings for MMA fighters, women, men, whatever. And this 540 metric, basically, it has the information here on the screen. But basically, what it does is it looks at so for example, here for Ed Ruth, it looks at this fighter's past 1,080 days. So 3-year span. It looks over 3 years. It looks at all the fights that this fighter's had. So Ed Ruth looks at all the fights Ed's had over the last 3 years, right? And then it looks at those fighters and looks at theirs win-loss and decision records 540 days before the fight with Ed and 540 days after Ed. And it doesn't matter if Ed won the fight or lost the fight against these other fighters. It basically just looks at all the fighters Ed's fought and looks at their records, basically 540 days before and 540 days after, which I guess would be a year and a, let me think, that'd be 2 years, year and a half. And basically it kind of words it here. It says strength of schedule. So basically it shows you what kind of opposition that Ed Ruth and other fighters are going against. So I feel like it's a good little metric. It's probably not best all be all to look at to see strength of schedule, but I think it's the best that I've found on websites that makes it pretty easy for me to look at. And yeah, it's pretty crazy that Ed Ruth's is .667, and Kamaru's is the same thing. Granted, Ed Ruth's only 8-1. Let's see, what is Kamaru? He's 14-0. So I mean, we're 5 fights off. So sometimes you'll see some really skewed results, like if somebody's like MVP had like a .7, but he was fighting dudes that has like a ton of fights. So, but yeah, so Ed Ruth, really good. He's gonna be fighting Yaroslav Amosov. Amosov, I think he only has 3 fights in Bellator. Yeah, he fought Gerald Harris, unanimous decision. Then he fought Eric Silva, who, of course, went from UFC to Bellator. He had a decision against him. And then he finished David Nichols with round 2 Darce choke. And then now here he is in a main event against Ed Ruth. So, should be a good fight. I mean, the Amosov guy, he's 22-0. He's undefeated. He fought some cans on the way up. I'm not going to lie. Like, here he is 14-0. He fought a dude as 3-0. Fought a dude as 0 fights. Like, don't get me wrong. His record was a little padded on the way up. But he is finally fighting people that should be at least around his record. 25-6, 20-9, 21-5. So, and he's winning. Granted, it's decisions and then now a Darce. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see this fight with him and Ed Ruth. So, looking forward to seeing that. Also, we have Brandon Gertz fighting Myles Jury. Of course, so Brandon Gertz, I think he's been kind of a little inactive. Let's see, his last fight was March 2019. So, a little less than a year was his last fight. He's had a couple canceled fights, and he fought Chandler, and I think he filled in for Chandler. He fought against Chandler, Michael Chandler, that is. He filled in to fight Chandler when, I want to say it was Brent Primus. It was supposed to be the rematch between Brent and Chandler. I think Primus got hurt, and Brent had to pull out. So Gertz filled in for him, but he lost. So, but he beat Saad Awad, which that dude's legit. So good fight with him. And then Myles Jury, of course, was in the UFC, and Myles came over to Bellator, and has only had 1 fight in Bellator so far, which against Benson Anderson. He lost that via unanimous decision. So, I mean, man, Myles Jury, I really thought Myles I don't want to say he had championship material. I thought he had like top 5. Maybe he just needs some more time in the cooker. But I thought when I was watching him, I thought I saw really great skills, and he looked like such a great prospect. I mean, look here, he was 15-0. Then he lost to Cowboy. Then he lost to Oliveira. Won 2 more fights, and then lost against Chad Mendes and Andre Touchy-Feely. So then he came up to be 18-4 at that point, and then that's when he went over to Bellator and now lost to Benson Henderson. So his next fight against Brandon Gertz, it should be good. I'm excited for that fight. The other fights I wanted to mention on this one, Tyrell Fortune fighting Timothy Johnson. This is a heavyweight fight. Tyrell Fortune, of course, came up through wrestling, and so did Timothy Johnson. And Tyrell Fortune, if you haven't seen it, there's an article on ESPN where Tyrell Fortune talks about how he passed out and had multiple seizures, and it was like multiple hours, 7-8 hours or something, where he basically was presumed dead and announced as dead by the hospital staff and stuff, and they had to keep bringing him back to life. And dude, it's a crazy story. He was talking about how he was trying to do laps to make weight in wrestling. This took place when he was still in wrestling, and it was like right before he friggin' passed out. He went up to a water fountain, went to get a drink, and then fell over. I think he said he was starting to get water, and then he fell back, and he could see and feel that he was all foaming at the mouth, and he couldn't move and stuff, and then he passed out, and he was just like, "That's it, I'm dying." And it's an insane story. So I'll link that also in my YouTube description for this video. But he's 8-0. Looks like a beast, so that'll be fun to watch. Timothy Johnson, of course, was in the UFC. He actually got cut from the UFC after a win. He fought Marcelo Golem, but that fight, if I remember correctly, that was that one that was like, oh my god, kill myself. Like, it was so boring. And I think that's why the UFC let him go. Like, all of his fights are just super boring. Now, unfortunately for Timothy Johnson. But he went to Bellator, lost to Czech Congo, and then lost to Vitali Minakov. And now he is fighting Tyrell Fortune. Two losses in a row in Bellator. So, but that should be a good fight. Outside of that, I think that's all I had for Bellator 239. So let's close out of that. Next, we got LFA 82. I'm only going to mention one fight on this card. This is the card that'll be on Fight Pass. And if you didn't see it, I have another video. I have another YouTube video series I call MMA Prospects. And my first ever video was on the guy in the main event, Alex Easy Polizzi. He's currently 5-0. Again, came up through wrestling, and he's fought a couple people that had losing records, but he looks very convincingly, or he wins them very convincingly. Like, all of his finishes all of his wins are all finishes. So he's 5-0. Every one of them is a finish, and then now here he is in LFA, getting a title shot at 205 light heavyweight. I'm telling you, we need these prospects at light heavyweight. The UFC needs them. Bellator needs them. Like, let's be real. Who else is John Jones and what's his face? God, how am I forget his name? The champion over there for light heavyweight and heavyweight over in Bellator, Ryan Bader. Like, who else are they gonna fight? Like, we're running out of light heavyweights and heavyweights. So Alex Easy Polizzi coming up. And he's fighting Jamal Pogues. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. Jamal, I looked at. He's got a couple wins under his belt, but if you look, I think, he fought somebody 9-0, 1-2, 0-0, 0-0. He lost to a dude that's 8-0. So his only 2 losses is somebody that was 8-0 and then 0-0 in his very first fight, which is fine. But up here, he fought somebody that was 0-0 when he was 5-2. It's kind of weird. Then he fought a guy that was 11-0 and won that, so that's pretty good. That was a decision. Head kick round 1, win KO TKO. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Alex. I want to see how Alex does. I'm gonna be 100% tuning into that, seeing how Alex does. And if he wins that, goes 6-0, man. If he wins that with a crazy finish or something, and because if you're unfamiliar, LFA is basically a feeding line into the UFC. If he can get a finish here, maybe defend the belt once as well. I don't know if he'd get it at 6-0, but maybe 7-0. If Alex can get 2 wins in a row, like 2 crazy finishes, like great finishes, like he could possibly be in the UFC. So, and I know he's talked about that, and I'll link my video for that. But basically, he talked about what promotions he'd want to go to, and he didn't say no to the UFC, but he was super interested in ONE FC because he said he doesn't feel like he's really good at marketing himself, and he feels like that's a requirement sometimes in the UFC to get those big opportunities. Whereas ONE Championship, all you gotta do is keep winning. So I'm super looking forward to that, and that's gonna be awesome. So that's LFA 82. Next, Rizin 21. Rizin, man, there's so much going on. Rizin is one of those promotions that's kind of went on the burner for me, and I haven't been really keeping up. I looked at the fights on here. Nothing really stood out to me, but man, when you watch Rizin, it's always a spectacle. It's always fun. I think it's only like $15 or $20 if you buy it on Fight, or what's that website? Is it Fight, FITE.com? I think. Or maybe it's Flow. No, it's not for Flow Grappling. I forget. Unless they have it here. No. Either way, unless they have it. Nope, they don't have it here either. Yeah, so no real fights kind of stood out to me here. I would want to watch it. I'd like to almost watch the replay. I don't know if I definitely won't be able to watch it live since it's overnight. But I'd like to watch the replay of it afterwards because it's always fun to watch Rizin. It's just, it's got that pride feel from back in the day. So we have that coming up as well. Moving on down the list, we got Bellator Dublin. So again, we got Bellator Friday night and Saturday night, and the one on Saturday night is in Dublin. Excuse me, it's not Saturday night. It's actually 11 a.m. Eastern. So this is like, at least in the U.S., this is afternoon. I looked down the card a little bit. I think I had, just one fight I wanted to mention on here was Brent Primus, which again I just spoke about him in the other Bellator card. He's fighting Chris Bungard, and Brent Primus, his last fight was a win, and then right before that was his fight against Chandler, which is because Brent Primus beat Chandler the first time in 2017. They were supposed to have that rematch, which is when the other gentleman filled in, and then Chandler and Brent Primus fought again, and then Brent lost the title. So now he got a win, and now here he is in the co-main event of this card fighting Chris Bungard. Chris Bungard, I think his record looked okay. He's I think he's 5-1. Yeah, 5-1 in his last 6, so he's doing okay. So looking forward to that fight. Brent Primus is pretty fun to watch. I gotta be honest, the main event, I'm not exactly why Leah McCourt and Judith Ruiz are the main event. I don't really know much about them. I don't know why Brent Primus is in the main event. Probably because he's U.S. and they're in Dublin. They're trying to get that, Europe card going. So Bellator's going to Bellator sometimes when it comes to that. But anyways, that's Bellator Dublin. Again, now moving over to boxing, we have the Wilder vs. Fury 2. I'm totally going to be watching this. I'm probably going to put this on one of my other screens with every other friggin' event going on Saturday night. At least for the main event. Boxing is one because I've been watching MMA for a long time, and there's the other foundational martial arts that I don't know a lot about. Like boxing and wrestling are two martial arts that I want to start getting to know a lot more about. And boxing with this boxing match coming up between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, super interesting. At heavyweight, it's 12 rounds, 3 minute apiece, so I almost have to pay attention to that because I don't even know the divisions in boxing. Obviously I know heavyweight, but when it comes to like lightweight, I know that's not what mixed martial arts weights is. So I need to dive into boxing. I want to learn the history a little more. I want to learn the rules a little more and watch more of that so I can kind of pick that stuff up because I feel like that would benefit me a little bit more when I'm watching MMA and what I'm looking for. And so I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm probably just going to watch the main event. I could watch the co-main. I mean, the co-main guys even have really good records, 30-1, 19-2. I know in boxing that's a big thing, is having this undefeated record, like 40 wins and 0 losses, whereas MMA, it's like, dude, you got 10 wins and you're the champion. I mean, what? Kamaru's 14-0, and he's the goddamn welterweight champion. Like, dude's a beast, and they have to be 42-0 to be the champion and stuff over here in boxing. So it's a different world. But yeah, boxing, and I want to get into wrestling as well. When I was in my younger days before mixed martial arts, I watch professional wrestling, and I really wish I would have watched amateur wrestling back then, because I have all this friggin' professional wrestling knowledge stuck in my head, and I wish I could just kind of get rid of that and put amateur wrestling, just stick that in there, because there's things I can remember about professional wrestling that I don't want to remember. It's like knowledge I don't need anymore, toss it. I want amateur wrestling information. I want boxing information. It's just, there's only so much room in here. But anyways, it'll be fun to watch this. Deontay Wilder, like, what is he, 42 wins, and I think he has 40 knockouts. Like, that's fucking insane. Dude just puts people to sleep. I want to say I saw a fight he had recently, and I want to say he hit him right in the top of the forehead or on the side or something like that, and it knocked the dude out. Or, well, yeah, I think it knocked him out, because he got, like, really wobbly and fell over. It's like, I don't know if I've ever seen in MMA somebody get hit in the forehead and get knocked out. Like, it's always in the chin or right here near the ear, or the back of the ear with, like, a head kick or something, but never, like, the forehead. So that's insane. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And last but not least, we got our weekly UFC card. I think we got, like, 16 weeks of UFC cards straight. It's insane. This one I'm super excited for. We got Paul Felder versus Dan Hooker in main event. Man, I'm so excited for this. Like, I feel like this is a long time coming for both of these guys. Dan Hooker, I've just seen Dan Hooker just get better and better and better. And Paul Felder is such a beast. Like, them two getting a main event, like, dude, it's blowing my mind, honestly. And I mean, the card isn't super stacked, but for them to get main event experience, like, I don't know, I don't think either have been a main event, and it's exciting, man. It's crazy. Like, obviously, I think it's gonna be mostly a stand-up fight. The thing that really sticks out in my mind, and let me bring it up real quick. The problem, excuse me, the problem is, and it's not probably a bad problem, it's a good problem for him, is when you look at the lightweight division, we have Paul Felder sitting at number 6 and Dan Hooker sitting at number 7. Whoever wins this, look at the list ahead of you. You got Donald Cerrone, you got Gaethje, Conor, Dustin, Tony Ferguson, and Khabib. Like, whoever wins this, you're already in a Shark Tank because you're in lightweight, but now you're in the top 5 in probably the best division in MMA right now, in the best promotions. Like lightweight in UFC has to be the top of the top right now, and for you to be in that, like, there's so many killers in this division. It's insane. So there's so much on the line for this. If they imagine Dan Hooker getting a fight with Conor, or Paul Felder getting a fight with Conor, it's insane. So I'm super excited for this fight. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Paul Felder and Dan Hooker, they're both super awesome, super down-to-earth dudes, and but they're going to fucking bring it. I know they are, and I'm excited. The other fights I wanted to mention on the UFC card, we got Jimmy Crute fighting up. Jimmy, I think he just lost his last fight. Yeah, he lost to Misha. That's right. Peruvian necktie. That's right. I forgot about that. But Jimmy Crute, but not a lot of people talk about Jimmy, but he's on the up and up, and he was doing super well. And then, of course, lost to Misha here, but hey, get back on the horse. That was just in September. And then here he is back fighting. Who's he fighting? Michael. I don't even know if I remember this guy. How many fights did he have in the UFC? Let's see. Oh, he fought Khalil. So 1, 2, 3. He's only had 4 fights in the UFC. He fought to Ovenstein. He lost against OSP last. So I don't know. That should be an interesting fight. Jimmy Crute's a beast, so I'm looking forward to that. Karolina Kovacevic, our girl, she's fighting. Man, I don't know. I think she's on a 3-fight loss streak. Yeah. Jessica Andrade, Michelle Waterson, and Alexa Grasso. Like, looking at the list, she's not losing to chumps. She for the Joanna fight when she fought for the title, I was there for that one. That's the one, the Madison Square Garden card, the first one in New York City. I think she put Joanna in trouble, like, in one of the rounds. It was super exciting. Then she lost to Claudia, and then now recently Jessica Andrade, Michelle Waterson, and Alexa Grasso. Like, at least in strawweight, she's not losing to chumps. So she's still doing well, but man, 3 in a row. If she loses this, 4 in a row. Is she gonna be on the chopping block for UFC? I have to assume she is. I don't know. It's hard for me to pronounce her name, but Xiaonan Yan. She actually just beat my girl Angela Hill, who's also on this fight card. And Angela Hill is a beast, and she just beat her, and now she's up against Carolina. And I think Carolina is actually ranked. If I look at strawweight, this is it down here. Yeah. There she is, 14. So she's near the bottom of the list, and she's fighting her. So she might have a number next to her name if she beats Carolina. Who else we got? Kevin Aguilar down here on the main card. The first fight on the main card, Kevin Aguilar. He's fighting Suabara Tukagov. Now, Tukagov, he's been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He hasn't been fighting all that much. A little inactive. He fought in September 2019. That was a draw. That was the Khabib and Poirier event. And then before that, he fought in 2016. And then 2015. And then 2014. It's like one fight in 2014, one fight in 2015, one fight in 2016. Then he had 17, 18, 2 years off. Then 2019, the dude is not active at all. Dude, I'm telling you, like, Kevin Aguilar could take this. Kevin Aguilar is a beast. I think his nickname's the Angel of Death. I think he came up through LFA, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think he was the champ at LFA. Yeah, he's the featherweight champ. Came on the Contender Series, won that, and then he's been winning since. He lost to Danny Ige, which Danny Ige's a beast. But now here he is fighting Tucker Goff, so that should be a really good fight. I'm looking forward to that. Jalen Turner, I think he was on Contender Series as well. Hey, not going to knock that. Let's see. Yeah, he lost to Matt Pravola, that's right. And, he lost to... Oh, yeah, because, they had that fight with Vicente Luque versus Jalen Turner. I was like, I don't think Jalen Turner's ready for Vicente Luque. Like, I feel like he's one of the dark horses in the division, and Vicente Luque put it on him. But yeah, he went through Contender Series, and he looks really good too. So hopefully he shows up and does really well. Who else would I want to mention? Oh, Jake Matthews. He's always on the cards in Australia and New Zealand. Jake Matthews. He's fighting Emil Meek, so that should be a good fight. I'm really surprised Jake Matthews isn't on the main card. They always like to put Jake on the main card, but he's at the top of the. Or actually, no, he's not the top of the prelims. Wow, he's below Jalen Turner. Wow. So, yeah, we got that fight coming up. Kai Kara France. He's always super exciting exciting to watch. He's on the prelims. And then last but not least, Angela Hill, my girl. She's actually stepping up on a month's notice, I think, to take this fight. I think the girl that was supposed to fight her, Hannah Goldie, had to withdraw. Now Angela Hill's like, screw it, let's go. She was just, if you guys haven't seen it, she was on Joe Rogan's Experience on his podcast. Was it this week? Was it last week? And literally about to fight, and she goes on Joe Rogan's podcast. So that was pretty cool. Watch that if you haven't. It's a pretty good one to learn about Angela and everything. But yeah, I think that's our entire weekend. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. There's gonna be so much. My wife's gonna hate me because I'm gonna be watching so much fighting. But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. Tune in and watch all the fights. And other than that should be it for me. I think I might do a post video for the UFC card here. I'm not sure yet. There's also AFC fights next weekend. I want to make a preview for that. And I think I'm also cooking up another video I want to work on. So other than that, that's about it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good weekend and enjoy all the fights, and talk to you next time. Peace.